so let's take a look at. All right, we've got Krista joining us, and we've got, who else do we have there with us today?
Jacqueline Horseman.
All right, Jacqueline Horseman and Krista.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. And you guys are going to be doing the ECE review of unique learners, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so I'm Russ Hockenberry, the Zone 3 Digital Innovation leader. What are your guys' titles?
We are the Low Incidence Resource Team.
Okay, Low Incidence Resource Team. Awesome. And so are you guys spread out across the district, or like just you have certain zones?
Right now we're in zones, yes. We cover different areas for low incidence and ECE.
Awesome. And I see Melissa Weedman has jumped in there as well. I'm guessing she'll be monitoring the chat. I've noticed she's monitoring the chat, and she does a really good job of monitoring the chat during this 11 o'clock hour.
She does.
Excellent. And who will be sharing their screen today?
I will. Are we ready to go?
In just about a minute. So let's see. It looks like we have 51 people watching right now, which is I think a high for today. So people are really interested in this. Excellent. All right. So why don't we go ahead and get started?
Sure.
Okay. I am going to share my screen.
And then, do you know how to turn on the closed captioning?
I think so.
Excellent.
Can we see my screen?
Yes, I see it.
Okay.
Great.
And let's turn on captioning.
Excellent.
Deal.
And then if you could do one more thing with captioning, if you could make it large or extra large. There you go.
Yes. Again?
Yeah, large or extra large is fine.
Let me hide that and I'll be able to get to it. Sound good?
It looks great. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Great. Today we're going to be doing the low-tech instructional strategies. We touched on them last Friday. We did a part 1, and this is our part 2. We got some great feedback, and just kind of let it go from there. We've looked at some different opportunities to take, your home resources and materials and connect that and turn those into instructional moments for our students. It takes a lot to kind of look around the house and find materials to get creative. And we've noticed, it can get hard during these times. Our creative juices are dwindling. So we're really reaching out to a lot of our teachers, and they've been such great, giving us great feedback. So we're taking a lot of theirs and going back from what we've done to create these. So we're excited to share with you all. So we have writing and sentence structure. Legos is something that you can do to create sentence building, either having sorting or creating the sentence itself. Also building the sentence. This is a printout, and if you have a printer at home, parents could print, but you can also make this just with paper. Drawing out those boxes, filling in maybe vocab words that they're working on themselves or words you would like them to work on. We have paper cups. Just take a Sharpie and build that sentence, kind of make it fun, little textile, and then just sensory input for there. You have little bitty, the popsicle sticks. You could sort those through adjective or noun, verb, and that's a fun way to kind of have kids sort and get that brain working.
So here are some ideas around science. So just using some simple Ziploc bags around the house, looking at maybe studying the weather cycle and looking at those vocab words, precipitation, evaporation, condensation. This is just made with a Ziploc bag, some water, and a Sharpie, and some blue food coloring. And then the other one is just, it looks like some soybean plants, and you can put them in a bag and hang them in the window and water them each day and practice this, maybe looking at the plant's life cycle.
All right, place value. This is a fun one that just looking around the house, you can grab so many different things to work on with your students for place value. Up at the top, you can see they have just straws. You could use straws. If you don't have straws, make it an outside activity and go look for sticks to do your hundreds, tens, and ones, which would be fun, and you're getting outside. This little game at the bottom, it's called Whack It Place Value Math Game. So you could use anything to kind of touch. It's almost reminded me of Whack-A-Mole, which was always a fun game to play, to where you can have the student look for the tens place, the hundreds place, the ones, the thousands, and you're having them engaged in that. They could do it by themselves if you had flashcards beside them to look for which one they wanted to touch. Also, the one at the right-hand corner, you have pretzels and marshmallows, which is a fun way to, work on that activity. And then they get to have a little snack at the end, which is always super rewarding. The Stomp It game is fun. You're getting moving. You can do it with a partner. If they have siblings, they can all play it together, touching on the numbers for the hundreds, thousands, hundreds, ones, and 10 spots. So that's a fun one to really get moving in the at home.
This is great. I mean, if we have any parents watching, this is, this isn't just for teachers. I mean, look, this is great. The stuff you're sharing there. It's so creative and just an easy way to take what you've got at home and make it a learning activity.
Absolutely.
So looking at, going along with what you said and having things just around the house, these are all simple activities all centered around maybe an apple theme. That you can just make quickly around the house. So they used a muffin tin and drew some apples with numbers in it, and then had kids use, it looks like Skittles, to just practice that counting and one-to-one correspondence. Looking at cutting an apple into fractions and, half of the apple, and cutting the apple into thirds, so it could practice maybe some well-monitored fine motor skills of using a knife or having an adult help you cut the apple. But looking at the fractions you can make with an apple, and then just drawing an activity on a piece of paper and having them look at math problems and match it to the correct answer. So all super simple things that you can do pretty quickly and make around the house to practice these skills.
This is what's cool about this too, is like you think about some of this stuff would be kind of hard to do with 28 students in a classroom. But when you've got one or two kids at home, it becomes infinitely easier. And so this is great.
Absolutely. You can go with what the student is interested in and kind of specialize it with them. And also, I'm sorry, we did not even talk about the chat over to the side. Caitlin Hobbs is over there. She is one of our wonderful resource teachers, and she is over there answering any questions that teachers may have in the chat. I'm so sorry. We forgot to do that little introduction. So she is over there. We're going to touch on addition and subtraction. This one is a lot of fun. You can create a template with a paper plate. Last week we talked about a lot of different things that you can do with the paper plate. And if you're like me right now, I'm gearing towards paper plates because we're at home a lot and that's a lot of dishes. So have a paper plate. You can break it into addition, subtraction. This is a fun one. You could do it with marshmallows, buttons, any type of little objects that would fit on a paper plate, beads. Can be a really fun activity. This subtraction bowling, this was new to me and I love it. I can't wait to see this used in classrooms next year. Toilet paper rolls, they're doing the subtraction, they roll the ball, whichever one's knocked down, then that becomes your subtraction problem, which I think is great. You're using your hands, your brain, everything. It's great. Then you have this really neat app. If you don't have dice at home, something that's, maybe hard to find or lost, whatnot, there's a lot of great free apps that you can roll the dice, shake the phone, and it rolls the dice for you, which was fun and it kind of gets everybody involved. Domino addition, which is a great one, writing it down, using those fine motor skills, laying them out, and then using that one-on-one interaction with the domino where it has the 2 plus 1. They're creating that themselves and you already have it right in front of you, which is great.
Then looking at maybe even some project-based learning during NTI. So students can pick an animal and create a diorama and research all about that animal in their habitat and where they live. So these are some great examples of looking at maybe a dolphin and they live in the water and looking at, animals that live in the jungle and they live with trees and water and forest. And I love this guy dressed up in an animal costume. It looks like a chameleon or a lizard of some sort, but I love his work.
I was wondering what he was supposed to be, but yeah, I see it. He's got a tongue. He's got like a lizard tongue or something.
Yes.
And this one's really fun too because, you're sitting at home, you can come up. I thought maybe a place they would want to travel. Like, let's think about a habitat or a place that kids would want to travel. This could be a project to where they're working on it for a week or two even. Every day, maybe after lunch, you touch on it and you look for something else you can add to the habitat. So it can just correlate through a longer period of time, which is always nice. Then we have this one. This is letter sounds, which is always fun. You can do an alphabet book if you have newspapers or magazines laying around the house, even things off soup cans or any food labels to do an alphabet book. So that's something also you can have this extend through a period of time. Maybe one day you focus on A's, next day you focus on B's. I always like things that you can kind of touch on a little bit each day to get the brain flowing a little bit. This one was fun, the object sound matching. I have a little one at home and we have tons of little figurines. So grabbing that and seeing how many letters we can match to what is really fun and exciting for them, especially if they're getting to use objects, from their own house. Everyone likes to do show and tell. And this is a great way for them to kind of show and tell something they have at home to match with that sound. Backyard alphabet hunt. I'm all about getting outside during these days and stretching legs. So if you can make a poster board, piece of paper, looking for those alphabets or whatever letter that they're focused on for the day, looking outside and seeing if they can find it, which is great. You can do it within the backyard, or maybe you go on a walk and you go on a little alphabet hunt on a walk, which is great. And then this one is a lot of fun, gets the kids moving too, is rainbow hop. So letter sounds, and then you're sounding them out and hopping to that letter, which is another fun one to kind of easy. If you have construction paper, it doesn't have to even be colorful. You could color it in with crayons or marker, whatever you have at home to make it resourceful for you and to have that, instructional moment.
Then looking at some activities around working on shape identification. I love this example of maybe making like a hopscotch or a twister board using shapes. So you can call out a shape and they can run and jump on the shape. Or maybe it's twister and you say, put your right hand on the purple heart and things like that. Using Play-Doh is a great sensory way to get our kids involved in learning and having them practice making those shapes and using their fine motor skills to roll out Play-Doh. Then you can use popsicle sticks to make shapes. I love this activity using a shape detective, like a magnifying glass that is the shape. And how easy would it be if you don't have a laminator at home to maybe use like some saran wrap or contact paper or wax paper to just design that out of construction paper and then have them go on a hunt around the house, or even maybe during a walk around the neighborhood to find shapes on other people's houses.
Yeah, this is great.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at these activities. I'm like, man, thinking about the kids that are incoming to kindergarten next fall or in the fall.
Oh yeah.
Man, I would be doing this all summer with my kids.
Yes, you get a head start on things. That would be wonderful. Yep. All right, force in motion. This is a great one that kids can come up with at home. You could use a cereal box. I love STEM activities to build in. Cut it. They either have race cars, balls, whatever works to kind of have that force in motion, your own little science experiment at home, which is always fun. Finding out which ones are going to go faster, do a little project with it.
Then looking at ways to practice money skills, if you don't have cash, a lot of people don't use cash nowadays and might not have it around the house. You can always use Monopoly money. You can draw out your own money. I just pulled some things from my pantry and made my own little store in my kitchen. And then using like advertisements you get in the mail with prices on them, or printing off maybe a to-go menu from a local restaurant and looking at how much money you would need to buy certain things.
Area and perimeter is a fun one to do at home. I really like the one at the bottom. The students did a self-portrait and squares of the paper to calculate the area and perimeter. So then you're kind of adding arts and crafts into it and taking it into a math lesson, which is always great. Making shapes with tape to find the perimeter, painter's tape at home. You can go outside and create that itself as well.
Looking at using interactive stories, so creating objects that you can pair with stories you're reading. A lot of these are examples of just objects that they found around the home, using like wooden spoons from the kitchen to make the 3 little pigs, and giving our students a way to touch and feel and interact with the story they're reading. Also looking at just getting props from the story, things that they can interact with, maybe even with a chapter book like The Outsiders.
Weather is a fun one, especially with Kentucky weather. Doing a graph to kind of come up with, rainy days, cloudy days, sunny, weather facts. I love these sensory bottles. If you have water bottles at home, you can create a sensory fun and do glitter in it, cotton balls, do a little sunshine. If you have something yellow, you could put it in there. Also, measuring rain is a great one. That's one you can do every single day. Maybe after breakfast, you run outside and you kind of see if there was rain for the evening. The do-it-yourself rain clouds, which is exciting to watch. But a lot of these are easy to come up with the resources at home. The cloud writing with shaving cream, practicing, writing your name, or maybe you're writing weather themes words. That's all weather related and worth trying at home.
As a parent, if I designed one of these for my kids, I would totally be jumping in and racing them and attempting to do it myself. So these are great obstacle course ideas for around the house, just using some step stools and having them jump over the hot lava that's the grass, or working on balance and coordination with walking with a book on your head. Or I love this one, creating a obstacle course down the hallway, just using some crepe paper from a party, left over from a birthday party. Or taping obstacle races like zigzags and curves and spins on the floor for the student to follow.
Writing a friendly letter. You can do this to teachers, family members, or a peer, either tracing. I know a lot of our students are really missing their friends at home or school, and then their teachers. So this is a great opportunity for them to do that. Either typing it, if we have some students that can access the typing with a computer, or any types of arts and crafts with the stickers. It's a great way to do fine motor as well.
Then looking at ways to practice letter skills, so using a Q-tip to paint and having them trace letters using some paint and a Q-tip. I love the matching activity using magnet letters and a cookie cutter or a cookie sheet. And having the letters on the cookie sheet and they can match them and it'll stick together. Using Post-it notes and just a piece of paper to practice letter matching. So they wrote their name at the top and they are matching each letter. Using just some cereal to trace their name. And I think a lot of our boys would love this car activity where they can drive the cars into the matching parking spot.
That one's a lot of fun. We have sorting fun, which is always great with the Cheerios or Fruit Loops. That one's a great little activity, easy to make at home, colorful markers or crayons, just tracing a circle and then having the students sort. If you're able to have these shapes over to the side, you can always sort the circle, square, triangle, rectangle. That's a fun one. I love the coin sorting, taping that off with a painter's tape or duct tape, even using like a muffin pan to do the sorting activity. The colorful one is great, especially if you want your student to kind of go around the house, look for the specific color. Maybe you limit them to the kitchen or you limit them to their bedroom and they have to find one item of that color. Keeps them busy for a little bit, and it's a great activity to get the brain going.
Then looking at some great just visuals and things that we use in our classrooms that you can translate into the home. So using just a kitchen timer to set timers for kids and give them a clear idea of when tasks are ending. Making a visual schedule just with a piece of paper and even just some tape and some markers. You can make a visual schedule where they can easily mark off each part of their day. Using numbers to number maybe the list of activities that you would like them to do, incorporating some fun activities in between to keep them motivated, and just creating some easy structured work systems within the home.
Biographies is a really fun one that students can start working on. Research a famous person in history. They can watch a video, they can read about them, and then making a poster about that. Dressing up like your famous person. If you could get the whole family involved and everybody pick someone, and then maybe you do a show and tell within the family about the person that you did a biography about. I love biography bags. If you can decorate your bag and then you fill it with the items that relate to that person. It's a great way to get everybody involved, and then you're learning about someone maybe you didn't know a lot about. It's always a fun activity.
Then looking at practicing telling time and things that we can find around the house to practice time. So just drawing a basic clock out and using some Play-Doh for the hand and the hour, the minute and the hour hands. Looking at using a CD. I love this one with a CD, and it looks like just a pipe cleaner.
I love that.
Really rotate that through and practice your telling time. Just drawing one out, some numbers out with paper, and using some popsicle sticks or maybe 2 pencils or a pencil and a pen that you have laying around the house. And then I love this one. It uses blocks, and it counts 5 blocks for each set of 5 minutes. So it shows that there's 5 minutes between each number on the clock.
Fractions is always a fun one. Making fractions for lunch, which is great if you did a sandwich and then you're finding out what fraction. Maybe you do flashcards and you find out what fraction your sandwich is going to be cut into today. Legos is a great one. It seems like a lot of people have those at home. So just writing on those with a dry erase marker and creating that fraction activity. Paper plates, again, I think that's something a lot of us are having at home. So creating that, and maybe you do the flashcards like they have here and they put them on popsicle sticks. You can quiz each other on them, which is great. Pool noodles is a really fun one that, you can have an activity of making this activity at home, and then you're creating the lesson in it in itself. Again, with the Legos, this is a great one. Breaking that down, creating the fractions with the different colors is a great way to have the students engaged, and it's very appealing to the eye.
Then looking at just ways to practice daily living skills, and these are great to work on at home because that's naturally where these are going to occur within our environment, is putting our clothes away and doing laundry and practicing folding and sorting laundry and all of those basic skills that are so important for our kids to know.
And continuing on the daily living skills, this is a really fun activity. I used to do this one in the classroom, is what room game. So find students to have what materials go in that specific room. Maybe it's a sponge for cleaning dishes. Maybe it's a hand towel. You can do a toothbrush. Finding which ones go into the bin to sort into that room. Using tape to practice sweeping. I really like this. It has the students focused on the task at hand, and then they're working in their designated area. It's a great one if a parent's making dinner and you need your student doing an activity. It's a great way to have them in one specific spot and they're working themselves as well. And then making and decorating paper placemats. This one's a lot of fun. You can get everybody involved. Paper plate, you trace, that's an activity in itself, and then having the student decorate it, and then they're working on matching and sorting those objects.
Then looking at using plates too to maybe study the life cycle of a plant, or also the life cycle of a butterfly. These are great ideas to incorporate some fun science activities into the home.
This one's great. Everyone needs to remember about self-care these days. Doing the star breathing, holding your breath. It's a great way to just kind of calm yourselves. Have your student create a self-care plan. And I love the one at the top with the nail painting. We have so many JCPS princesses out there that this is a great way to work on your fine motor skills. You're having a fun activity at it as well. So that was a fun one to touch on.
I love that idea. I totally would have loved that as a kid too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have about 9 minutes left, and we are so excited to share some great exemplars of our students doing some great work here in NTI and our awesome teachers and families that have all collaborated on some of this work. So this is Aubrey from Brandeis Elementary, and she used 3D items around her house to build a robot. And I'm loving those earrings. I would totally love a pair for myself.
They're so cute.
Great job, Aubrey. I love that. Here's another friend, Tyrese from Miss Harper's class. He watched a live reading on Storyline Online of Michelle Obama reading The Gruffalo, which is one of my favorites, and then drew a character from the story.
Here is Mervin. He is following the governor's orders and staying healthy at home with yoga, which I love. He is from Benet, and we are so thankful for his motivation. We've gotten so many just feel-good stories and awesome pictures from teachers and from parents, and it's just really so encouraging.
Here's Miss Friscos class from McFerrin. They are rocking NTI. So they have a daily morning meeting where they are able to do their calendar work and talk about how they're feeling today. They are also doing some class projects. So they all created eggs, which are great fine motor skills, putting stickers on and doing activities around writing and practicing their writing skills at home.
This is Miss Chef Alyssa. She is with the Aaron's program. And this is an awesome one because her dad got involved. He actually, if once we're done with lab, you can go back in and look at it. And he actually created a video with a task analysis about her grilling, which was awesome. We thank her, but we especially thank her dad. We're so excited to see a lot of these parents really getting involved and creating NTI, a really exciting process for our students. We know it's hard, but seeing the parents get involved is really uplifting for us. And she's practicing her cooking skills and safety skills using the grill, which is just wonderful.
Yeah, so if you go into our presentation when we're done presenting, you can click Chef Alyssa at the top and it's linked to that video for everyone to check out.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Oh, absolutely. Miss Keefe's class at St. Matthew's Elementary are doing some great work using Boom Learning and using words to create a sentence. Clara is moving the words and using the drag and drop feature on Boom Learning to make her own sentences. Awesome job. I love it. And then we have Miss Metcalf's class from Cane Run, and Carly is practicing her sight words and her handwriting skills. I love that dress she has on. So cute. Great smile. Then we have a student from Miss Irby's class at Camp Taylor Elementary practicing sounding out the letters to form a word. I love how he's being healthy at home and working on the computer and completing his NTI instruction. This is a student from Miss Keefe's class at St. Matthew's Elementary practicing her sight words. It looks like she's made some flashcards to practice all her words, and how easy would it be to use those flashcards and incorporate them into a quick sight word game like the Splat or the Stomp or any of those other games that we've talked about.
Then we have Megan. She's with the U of L PAC program, and Megan was a little stressed out about an assignment. So she chose to do a meditation video from her exercise and mental health choice board, which I thought was awesome. It's so important to remember to just reflect and to meditate, and she made a great choice by doing that.
And this is our guy Shiloh from Cochran Elementary. He participated in a school-wide collaborative piece for their backpack. So I think we've seen a lot of these on social media through the quarantine process where people take pictures of them holding up specific words to form like a message for people. So I love that he was able to participate in that. Then this is an example from Semple Elementary, Miss Kelly's class. They went on a virtual field trip to an aquarium. So this would tie great into those diorama projects that we were talking about. So they're able to watch animals at the aquarium and then maybe take that and do a project off of it. And then she also practiced writing some letters to each other during NTI. Here's a kiddo from Miss Fenton's class. Michael is making his favorite animal, finding and using materials around his home. So it looks like he's creating a turtle, using a collage, and then is also maybe using some Lego to recreate that turtle. I love it.
Then we have Johnson Middle School Thursday night social hour. How cool is this? So every Thursday night, they're having a little social hour to really get to see their peers and the staff in the classroom, which I just thought was great. They're able to interact, and it's, maybe they can just have a quick chit chat. I've seen a lot of schools doing this, and it's really, really cool. I've even seen some peer tutors that have been able to hop on, which I think is great. I know the kids really enjoy it. And then we have Miss Gallagher, a student over at Westport. They really focus on life skills over there. They have a great program, and they're really trying to incorporate this at home too. So JP is working on his daily living skills and helping with laundry, which I'm sure his parents are loving.
This is James from Miss Begley's class at Jacob Elementary. He made friend soup and was able to find all these things that he thinks makes a great friend and mix them together and put them in a friendship soup.
All right, and then Miss Gallagher's class over at Westport again. This is Summerlin, and she's practicing life skills by making her own lunch at home, which is great. And I heard that she is doing this every day, which is awesome. So I can't wait to see what the menu is this week. Then we have Miss Connor's student, Carmen. They're over at Doss. She has been really working hard on her fine motor skills. I've been able to work with this student, and she is great. She's sitting and cutting out the shapes, and it looks like she has, I think either her mother or her sister was helping her. So it's great to see parents and family members getting involved in these tasks. Then we have Kayla over at the U of L PAC program, and she is working on her News to You, which is great, wonderful resource, and she is using her iPad for that, and she is keeping up with the news, which we love.
Then here's Bella and Sam from Miss Nichols' class at Hawthorne. They are practicing their News to You as well and reading this weekly story on current events. And Bella's also practiced her name and completing her choice boards. So we want to share with you too that and remind you of our shared drive that has a ton of resources that we've worked on creating for teachers through NTI that they are more than welcome to access, and they are free.
Yes, and don't forget to check those out because we've been able to, so many of the teachers have been sharing different lessons with us, and we so appreciate it. But also there's some more on there. So we don't want to recreate the wheel. If you have a great resource, we want to share it with you. So don't forget to check those out. And we really appreciate all of the teachers and the parents that were able to show pictures and videos with us. During this time, it's just really uplifting to be able to see all of this wonderful, instructional opportunities that our students are being able to receive. It's very heartwarming.
Absolutely. Those examples were fantastic. So many great examples from so many great teachers and students. Phil Ferris from Chenoweth Elementary, if you're out there, man, I know you have some examples to share with us. So Phil, get on it, bro. So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing.
Thank you.
All right.